When you limit all of your daily food intake to one dedicated eating period, a method commonly known as OMAD or one meal a day, you're not depriving your body. Instead, you're activating a biological process that many people living in the modern world never experience. Picture a massive storage facility where trucks keep arriving nonstop. New shipments pour in every hour. Workers are overwhelmed, boxes are stacked everywhere, exits are blocked, and maintenance problems keep getting ignored because there's never a break in the chaos. That image closely reflects what happens inside your body when food is constantly coming in throughout the day. Now imagine those deliveries suddenly stop. The gates close. No new shipments arrive. For the first time, the cleanup crew can finally get to work. Repairs begin. Clutter gets removed. Systems that have been neglected finally receive attention. That's exactly what we're exploring today. We'll follow the body's physiological response to fasting and break down what happens during a full 23-hour period without food. By the end, you'll understand why delaying that single meal may trigger some of the most powerful metabolic processes your body is capable of. Let's start from the moment your last bite is finished. During the first 4 hours after eating, your body is completely focused on digestion. Your stomach and digestive system are busy breaking food apart. Proteins are converted into amino acids, carbohydrates become glucose, and nutrients begin entering the bloodstream. As blood sugar rises, your pancreas responds by releasing insulin. This hormone controls how energy is handled inside the body. Think of insulin as a gatekeeper. When insulin levels are elevated, energy is directed into cells for storage and use. At the same time, access to stored body fat is essentially restricted. As long as insulin remains high, your body prioritizes the food you recently consumed. Fat stores stay largely untouched. In this phase, fat burning is not the body's main objective because there is plenty of incoming energy available. Any excess glucose that isn't immediately needed gets stored. Much of it is packed into your muscles and liver as glycogen. Glycogen acts like a readily available reserve account, easy to access but limited in capacity. During these first few hours, everything feels normal. You're satisfied, energized, and operating on recently consumed fuel. Nothing extraordinary is happening yet. The real changes come later. Around hours 4 through 12, the situation begins to shift. By hour 6, 8, or sometimes a little later, blood sugar starts stabilizing. The flood of energy from your meal gradually fades. Insulin begins falling. The digestive rush is ending. This is usually where many people struggle. Your brain notices that the quick fuel supply is shrinking and sends out signals encouraging you to eat again. Ghrelin, often called the hunger hormone, rises. Your stomach may growl. You might feel cravings, restlessness, or slight irritability. Many people interpret this moment incorrectly. They assume these sensations mean their body is entering starvation mode. In reality, starvation is nowhere close. What you're experiencing is simply the transition away from constant food availability. Imagine a vehicle that spent its entire life using one fuel source. Suddenly it needs to switch to an alternative system. The adjustment can feel uncomfortable at first. If you continue fasting instead of immediately eating, your body begins using its backup reserves exactly as it was designed to do. The liver starts releasing glycogen, the stored glucose accumulated from previous meals. These reserves help maintain stable blood sugar levels and provide energy while your body prepares for the next stage. You're not losing muscle. You're not damaging yourself. You're simply withdrawing energy from savings that were stored specifically for this purpose. Around the 12-hour mark, glycogen stores become noticeably lower. The easily accessible energy reserve is no longer abundant. At this point, your body faces a choice. It can either reduce function or tap into a much larger energy source. Fortunately, human physiology evolved for survival. For thousands of years, people often went long periods without eating. Because of this, your body possesses an incredibly efficient backup system. As insulin levels continue dropping toward baseline, a powerful shift begins. An enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase becomes increasingly active. Think of it as a key that unlocks stored body fat. With insulin no longer blocking access, fat cells begin releasing fatty acids into circulation. The body starts using these reserves as fuel. This is a major turning point. Instead of running primarily on yesterday's meals, you're now drawing energy directly from stored body fat. The fuel source has changed. Between hours 14 and 16, many people notice something surprising. The intense hunger they expected often starts fading. That seems counterintuitive, but there's a logical reason behind it. When your body relies heavily on incoming food, energy levels tend to rise and fall throughout the day. You experience peaks after meals and dips when blood sugar drops. Once fat becomes the primary fuel source, energy delivery becomes much more stable. Body fat represents a massive reserve compared to glycogen, and it provides a continuous supply rather than short bursts. As a result, many people report feeling calmer, more focused, and more mentally clear during this phase of fasting. The roller coaster begins to flatten out. Instead of constantly chasing the next meal, your body settles into a steady rhythm powered by the fuel it has been storing all along. At this stage, your body is tapping into an energy reserve that most people rarely use. Even someone who appears lean is carrying tens of thousands of calories stored as body fat. Think of it as a giant backup power source capable of fueling you for a very long time. As fat is broken down, your liver transforms those fatty acids into compounds called ketones. This step is especially important because your brain cannot directly use fat for energy. It depends mainly on glucose or ketones. What surprises many people is that the brain functions remarkably well on ketones. In fact, ketones are often described as a premium fuel source. When glucose is burned for energy, it creates more metabolic byproducts, contributing to what scientists call oxidative stress. Ketones, on the other hand, provide energy in a more efficient way, generating less waste while delivering substantial fuel. This helps explain why many people notice a dramatic shift around the 16-hour mark. Mental fog starts to lift, concentration improves, energy feels more stable. Instead of feeling sluggish, they often describe a sense of clarity and alertness. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. Our ancestors couldn't afford to become tired and unfocused when food was scarce. If hunger made humans weak and mentally dull, survival would have been impossible. Instead, the body developed systems that enhance awareness and sharpen focus during periods without food. As the fast progresses into hours 16 through 18, we arrive at one of the most fascinating phases. This is where autophagy begins to take center stage. Think back to the warehouse analogy. For years, deliveries have been arriving nonstop, leaving no time for maintenance. Now the building has been quiet for a while. The staff finally has the opportunity to inspect what's broken, outdated, or no longer useful. Inside your cells, something very similar happens. The body starts searching for damaged components that can be removed and recycled. It identifies malfunctioning proteins, worn-out cellular structures, and mitochondria that are no longer performing efficiently. These are the tiny energy-producing units inside your cells. The cleanup process may even target harmful materials that have accumulated over time, including cellular debris and unwanted invaders. Once these damaged components are identified, the cell surrounds them, breaks them down, and repurposes the usable pieces into raw materials that can be used again. This process is called autophagy. The word literally translates to self-eating, but a better way to think about it is self-renewal. It's your body's built-in recycling and maintenance system. Many researchers consider autophagy one of the most exciting biological processes associated with fasting because it supports deep cellular housekeeping and repair. When food is constantly available, the body remains focused on growth and storage. But during extended periods without eating, attention shifts toward cleanup and restoration. This is one reason many people report improvements in skin appearance, recovery, and overall well-being during consistent fasting routines. The body finally has time to address accumulated cellular clutter. As the fast continues into hours 20 through 22, a common concern usually appears. People often ask, if my body is breaking things down, won't it start consuming muscle? The interesting part is that the body's response is actually designed to help preserve muscle during short-term fasting. Around this stage, the body increases production of a powerful hormone known as human growth hormone, or HGH. Research has shown that fasting can lead to significant increases in HGH levels. This hormone plays several important roles, including supporting recovery and helping protect lean tissue. In simple terms, the body understands that muscle is valuable. Muscle helps you move, hunt, gather food, and survive. Because of that, the body prefers to use stored fat for fuel whenever possible rather than sacrificing functional muscle tissue. Imagine needing firewood to keep a house warm. It wouldn't make sense to burn the furniture if there's already a large stack of wood waiting outside. In a similar way, your body generally turns to stored fat before it considers breaking down significant amounts of muscle. The combination of low insulin and elevated growth hormone creates a unique metabolic environment. Fat becomes highly accessible as fuel while the body works to preserve its important lean tissues. As hour 23 approaches, you're getting closer to your eating window. At this point, your body is highly responsive to nutrients. Insulin sensitivity is elevated, meaning your cells are especially prepared to absorb and use the nourishment that arrives. Think of a sponge. If it's already soaked with water, it can't absorb much more, but if it's completely dry, it eagerly takes in every drop. After many hours without food, your cells resemble that dry sponge. Meanwhile, your digestive system has enjoyed an extended break. Your gut has had time to rest. Internal processes have had an opportunity to rebalance. Your body has spent hours relying primarily on stored fat and ketones for fuel. Cellular cleanup has been underway. Growth hormone levels have risen. Energy production has shifted. Rather than being depleted, many people find themselves feeling surprisingly sharp and energized. Then the fasting window finally comes to an end. The meal you eat now matters more than ever. This is where many people make a mistake. After fasting for so long, it's tempting to view the meal as a reward and eat whatever happens to be available. But this meal shouldn't be treated like compensation for discomfort. It should be viewed as construction material. Your body is ready to absorb nutrients efficiently. What you choose to eat will provide the raw ingredients used for repair, recovery, and rebuilding. The quality of that meal helps determine whether you continue supporting the benefits of the fast or immediately work against them. The meal that ends your fast can either support everything you've accomplished over the previous 23 hours or undo much of it. Imagine spending an entire day allowing your body to tap into stored fat, improve insulin sensitivity, and perform cellular cleanup, only to end that process with highly processed foods loaded with sugar and refined carbohydrates. If your first meal is something like pizza, sugary drinks, or junk food, you're sending a massive wave of glucose into a system that has become extremely responsive. The result is often predictable. Blood sugar rises rapidly, insulin surges, and many people experience fatigue, bloating, and an energy crash shortly afterward. Instead of thinking of your meal as a reward, think of it as fuel for rebuilding. The first priority should be protein. Choose high-quality sources such as eggs, fish, chicken, beef, or other nutrient-rich proteins. During fasting, your body has been recycling damaged cellular components and repairing tissues. Amino acids provide the raw materials needed to support that rebuilding process and help maintain healthy muscle tissue. Next comes healthy fat. Foods like avocados, olives, olive oil, nuts, and similar sources of natural fats can fit well into the meal. Since your body has already been relying on fat as a primary fuel source during the fast, these foods help provide lasting energy without creating dramatic swings in blood sugar. The final piece is nutrient density. Because you're eating less frequently, every meal needs to deliver more nutritional value. Large servings of vegetables, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, and fermented foods can help supply important vitamins, minerals, and beneficial compounds that support overall health. These foods are especially useful for providing nutrients such as potassium and magnesium, which play important roles in energy production, hydration, muscle function, and recovery. When meals are built around nutrient-dense foods that are naturally filling, something interesting often happens. Appetite signals begin functioning more effectively. The hormones involved in hunger and fullness are no longer constantly being disrupted by frequent eating. Instead of eating until you're uncomfortable, you often find yourself naturally stopping when your body has received what it actually needs. That said, it's important to understand that adapting to OMAD doesn't happen overnight. If someone goes from eating every few hours to attempting a 23-hour fast immediately, the transition can feel difficult. The body needs time to improve its ability to switch between fuel sources. It must become more efficient at accessing stored fat and producing ketones. This ability is often referred to as metabolic flexibility. During the first days or even the first week, some people experience headaches, low energy, cravings, or feelings of weakness. In many cases, these symptoms are not necessarily signs that fasting is harmful. They are often part of the adjustment process as the body learns to rely less on constant food intake. One common issue involves electrolytes.